Hi everyone, Kelsey here with new fabric video number 68 and Pat, special guest today.
Hi everyone.
Video number 68 features the Cheery Blossom fabric from Robert Kaufman and this beautiful, super fun, intermediate level project called Cheery Up. So we are going to go ahead and start talking about Cheery Up, this wonderful table runner. It finishes out at 15.5 inches wide by 48.5 inches long. It has a very fun patchwork background that you sew together using 3.5-inch squares that you cut. And then it also features some machine applique on top. The cherries are very dimensional and you get that look by cutting, fusing, layering, and sewing. So I thought I would do a quick demo on what machine applique is and what the steps are that are involved to make this project approachable for everybody. So did you have anything you wanted to say?
Well, I wanted to say that the name of this pattern is really appropriate because Kelsey asked me for help. And we had a really fun time doing this. I mean, yes, we really did. It's a good project for two people because Kelsey was sewing while I was pressing.
Yes.
So I was going back and forth pressing to make sure that everything came out nice.
Yes.
And Kelsey was sewing. So it worked really well.
Yeah.
And then when we were done with the patchwork, the applique came along.
Yes.
And that, I think they rated this like an intermediate, right, Kelsey?
Mm-hmm.
And I could see why now when we were doing the patchwork is easy. Sewing the squares together is really easy.
Right.
But when we got to the applique part, it was still fun. We had a good time. It was a little
like a
challenging, like a puzzle, yes.
And let's get the overhead camera so you can see why as she's talking about it.
But it was still, I would say that still if you're a beginner, you could still do this.
Yes.
If you're a confident beginner, you could still do this. I don't know that you need any advanced sewing skills for this.
Right.
It was the placement that was a little challenging, but we got it with a little bit of math. And luckily it had a checkered background so we could count squares for the placement, which helps.
Right. So exactly. So we referred back to the pattern picture a lot to see where to place the cherries and the stems and where to place the little reflective pieces of the cherry. And then let me also just show you the back while we've got the overhead camera.
You gotta love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, normally we don't include the backing in kits, but I could not leave this back out. So if you purchase a kit, it has all the fabric for the table runner only, plus the backing because the cherry blossoms and the cherries are amazing. And you pointed out that you can see the reflection in the cherries here.
Shading.
The shading.
See, you can see the shading. So once we fused our cherries down, you'll probably get the feeling like, oh, we could leave it like this because it's so beautiful. Every step just pops.
Right.
However, when we placed the shading bits, which at first almost didn't make sense to me,
right,
because they're like little kidney beans. But once we placed them and fused them and held it up and stepped back, it was like, wow, it's got dimension now.
Right.
So yeah, it needed this.
So let me show you. We're going to leave it on the overhead camera and I'm going to do a little demonstration of what machine applique is. Because if you open up the pattern, here's all your cutting instructions. Then you get to preparing the templates. And maybe this is a little intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. It says on the fusible web, trace the indicated number of each template and be sure to notate the piece number and the fabric letter shown. So I'm going to show you exactly what that means. We have our templates here. This comes with the free pattern. We're going to include the link for it and we're going to include the printed version in the kits. So I'm going to show you template number 8. that's what I have prepped for the TV magic. So we're using Heat and Bond Light. Heat and Bond Light is a fusing agent that's double-sided. It is paper on one side and glue on the other. And the key to light is that you can sew through it after it's been fused down. So I'm going to place it over my template. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to trace around piece number 8. Okay, I'm almost there. And you would do that for as many times as you need piece 8. This is 8 and it's fabric C. So got my one piece. Now what you do is you fuse that piece onto the back side of the fabric that it's going onto, okay? So I've got piece 8 fabric C ironed on to the back side of the fabric. Be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions for how long you iron it on. And once it's ironed on, you cut it out.
While you're cutting, I'm just going to say something about Heat and Bond.
Yeah.
Heat and Bond has been around for a long time, and it is so much fun to use for all kinds of different crafts and projects. It is important, though, that you follow the directions, because sometimes you can over press or overheat the Heat and Bond and your glue might go away. So the instructions tell you the initial pressing is 2 seconds to bond it to the back with no steam. It's important that I actually take the water out of my iron when I use Heat and Bond. I don't want any steam because it makes it way too hot. Okay.
Okay, so thank you for that, because it is important to always follow manufacturer's instructions. Now, what we realized is that the templates are mirror imaged.
They've already done that for you.
Yeah, so when you go to put this down, let's get the overhead again. Follow figure number 12 for where piece 8 goes, because it's not in the same spot as your template. And that's where I got a little confused. See, it's on the left on the template, but it's on the right in reality. And that's because they mirror imaged it for you, so the fusing agent goes on the correct side of the fabric. So once you have your Heat and Bond on, all you're going to do is
you peel off the back.
Get a good start on the back so you can peel that paper off, okay, just like that. And now you've got glue on that side. And this is where you can have fun placing all your pieces. So piece 8, according to my diagram, goes right there. And once we had all of our pieces cut out and in the proper place, we pressed with our iron, right?
And if you have an applique pressing sheet, this is a good time to use it so that you don't get your iron gummed up.
So then once everything's pressed in place, you get to decide how you want to finish off those raw edges. So if you'd like to do a satin stitch or a blanket stitch, I did a zigzag stitch. You probably can't even see from there, and that was my goal. I just wanted the stitching to blend right in so the cherries could pop out. And that was really fun. I did that yesterday for a couple hours. I stitched everything down because I think this table runner is gonna get washed over time. So you wanna make sure everything is stuck in its place well with good stitching. And then one thing that I want to mention as well is once your table runner top is done, you may know by now, I like to use the double-sided fusible fleece. What does that mean? It's fusible fleece that has glue on both sides. This is something that we sell. It's going to be sold separate of the kit. And so what I did was I cut my fusible fleece to the same size as the table runner top. I cut my backing and I sandwiched all 3 together. And once they're all sandwiched together, you can take it to your ironing board and press everything. Start with one side and then go to the other. And it's like magic. Everything is pressed all together and you can get to quilting. And with quilting, you have many options as well. For the sake of time and because I'm I'm decent at it. I just went ahead and stitched in the ditch. My coworker Shirley, she said, "Oh, I would have free motion quilted around the cherries." Well, that's up to you. You're the artist. You do what makes you happy. I stitched in the ditch, which means I stitched right down in all of these ditches so that you hopefully can't see it. But if you want to free motion quilt around the cherries, do what makes you happy. And then in the kit includes enough fabric for the backing and the binding, and we use the serpentine stitch, which is found on most Baby Lock and Brother embroidery machines. And I wrote down if we could have camera number 1. Remember, there are no two cherries alike, so don't stress too much about the placement, all the shadings, because it's going to turn out beautiful no matter where you put them.
Yeah, that's nature. No two cherries are alike.
Exactly.
So, because we did start stressing in the beginning. We were like, oh no, let's move it. And actually, they came out beautiful.
They did.
Don't stress about that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we're already receiving great feedback from this. I did post a little sneak peek in our stories. I'm excited to see how you use the Cheery Blossom collection, maybe in your Airstream, maybe in your homes, maybe as a gift. I know I can't wait to put this on my island at home. It's just bright and fun. Thank you so much for watching. The kits are available online. If we sell out, we will order more fabric. The pattern is free. We're going to make the download available, and it's all available on sewing.net. If you like this video, please click like and share it with your friends. Happy sewing.
Bye.